Today on Studio One, we'll spend a day in the life of a couple that travel the country and amaze people with their illusions. Also, football can attract passionate fans. One man has a special way of showing support for his team. And another close election has brought attention to how the U.S. elects its president. We'll tell why some want to eliminate the Electoral College.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Carrie Verstahl.
Well, many people either have in their families or know veterans of wars.
Right, yeah. I know some people that were in wars, so.
I have a grandpa that went through a war.
My great-grandpa.
There you go. We are lucky enough today to have a Vietnam veteran on the program today who is going to talk about his survival story. It is an amazing story.
Right, often vets have really interesting stories to tell.
They do, and this one is for sure exciting, so we'll wait for that. Also coming up on the show, many senior citizens are concerned about the high cost of prescription drugs. We'll tell you how some are trying to be proactive in dealing with the problem.
Also, people often focus on children with learning disorders. We'll talk to someone who helps adults with attention deficit disorder.
But first, here's today's news with Phil Zubrod.
Thanks, Monty and Carrie. With the election over, President Bush is preparing for a second term in office. One of the main issues that Bush is working towards in the final months of his first term is unifying America. During his first press conference since the election, Bush discussed his goals for his next term in office. The president is planning to work with both political parties to win the war on terror and stabilize Iraq. Other goals include reforming Social Security and boosting the U.S. economy. He also expressed his gratitude to the public.
This week, the voters of America set the direction of our nation for the next 4 years. I'm honored by the support of my fellow citizens, and I'm ready for the job.
Much of the population does believe Bush is ready for the job, and one of their reasons is similar values. The issues of marriage, family, and abortion played an important role in this year's election. One group that was motivated by their values was the Hispanic population. CNN exit polls show that Bush earned a 9-point gain with Hispanic voters since the 2000 election. For many people, getting up early is the best way to start the day. But schools across the country are finding that rising early is not allowing many students to feel very bright. Research by the National Sleep Foundation found a link between lack of sleep and poor performance in school. Their studies show that students who say they lack sleep have trouble paying attention in class and have grade averages of C or lower. Some schools are starting later to give students more time to sleep.
Somebody once said, sleeping students don't learn. And so I think there is some reality to that. And so I think it is good that schools are taking a look at that and considering that.
High schools in Minneapolis, Minnesota decided to start 1 hour later and found that grades improved. But other schools say early classes do not have a negative impact on grades. Some people in need of an organ transplant are tired of waiting and are turning to strangers on the internet for help. Organ donor websites are providing a billboard for people looking to find or offer an organ. Online donations have increased over the past several years, but surgeons and federal officials worry that using the internet does not give all patients a fair chance of receiving a donation. They also fear that some people may resort to the illegal practice of buying and selling organs online. Currently, more than 87,000 people are on the national transplant waiting list. The rising cost of prescription drugs is becoming more of a problem among senior citizens. This is leaving many of them confused and looking for answers.
Many senior citizens are fed up with the high cost of prescription drugs and are struggling to find ways to pay for their medications. That's why many came to this presentation on prescription drugs in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. A representative from the Northwest Area Agency on Aging told seniors here that there are options for finding cheaper drugs, but many believe more needs to be done to fix the problem.
Well, I think it starts with the pharmaceuticals. Of course, I realize it costs money to have their experiments and stuff, but some of the prices, to me, I think are way out of line.
Others feel the government should address the issue.
The president should, and Congress should check in on a lot of this, because I think there's a lot of waste in drugs.
Many programs only benefit seniors with a lower income, but those with a higher income may still get into financial trouble if drug costs continue to rise.
And if this continues where our medication is going to be increasing, I'm probably looking at dropping the long-term care insurance just to pay for the medicines.
The goal of this workshop was to provide seniors with some helpful advice.
In addition to getting the information out, we want to offer our assistance to help them with it. Some of it's a little bit confusing, a little hard to understand.
Seniors here learned about drug discount cards and the option of purchasing drugs from Canada. With costs on the rise, many still have concerns about the future. This is Bailey Nordine reporting for Studio One News.
The temporary drug discount cards are the first wave of a two-phase government plan. The plan would provide 41 million Medicare recipients with prescription insurance by 2006. And that's the news for now. Monty and Carrie?
Thanks, Phil. Well, I think it's safe to say in this area, at least, we've been having a great fall.
It has. It's been really nice. 50s,
Very nice.
Pretty high for us.
Yep.
I don't know, I like that. You never know when it's going to change, though.
Pretty soon, probably.
Right. Well, why don't we go to Aaron Swanson over at the Regional Weather Information Center, and he can tell us more about what's going on outside.
Well, thanks, Monty and Carrie. Well, we have been seeing a very nice fall in our areas. We've had a few cool days and a few warm days, so great mix for everybody, actually. So let's take a look at our almanac conditions where we should be at this time of year. Our average temperatures across North Dakota are right around 40 degrees. 38 in Minot, a little bit cooler, and overnight lows are going to be right into those mid to lower 20s. And as we head into Denver, right around 55 is your average high, 53 into Portland, 43 in Minneapolis, and 3 degrees Celsius in Winnipeg. Well, 2004 is predicted to be an El Nino year, and what that means actually is that the low and the high pressure will switch positions, which actually will switch the trade winds, of which is typically going to be an east to west trade wind. And when that happens, the water on the western coast of South America begins to build up and get warmer, and it pretty much subsides a lot of the cooler water and forces it to go into the western Pacific. So what happens with this? You'll start to see that warm water head to the west side of South America, and the cooler water starts to head into the western Pacific. So as we take a look, what does this affect, or how does this affect, I guess, North America? For us, typically into the western part, we'll see above average temperatures, and they'll be north will be a little drier than average, where the south you'll see quite a bit warmer than or wetter than average. As we head on into the Midwest region, we're going to see above average temperatures into the north, and into the south you're going to see a lot more rain and a lot more cooler temperatures, and that's probably associated with that rain as well. As we head on into the Gulf states, you're going to see a lot cooler temperatures than average, but above average in your precipitation. But as we take a look across the region, we probably are going to see a little bit cooler conditions out to the east coast, which is probably maybe an early indicator of this El Nino year. Otherwise, out into the western regions, we're going to stay mainly pretty much warm across the region. As we take a look, we're going to see some wet conditions pretty much in the northern half and into the extreme southern half. Otherwise, dry right in through the middle of the country, and really nowhere that's going to be right around normal over the next couple weeks here. So as we take a look, we do have a hurricane hunter story coming up in the second half of the show, so we thought we'd ask you how many days did Hurricane John last in the 1994 hurricane season? So Monty and Carrie will have the answer to that question, and also a look at some flooding locally here for us.
All right, thanks, Aaron. I guess I really haven't heard of El Nino lately. That's something.
Yeah. I remember when it first came out, it seemed a few years back. It was just, everybody was talking about it.
Haven't heard of it for a while, so that's kind of interesting.
Well, let's go now to sports news with Greg Ankers.
Thanks, Monty and Carrie. Coming off their best season in franchise history, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the experts are raising the bar even higher. With many picking the Wolves to win it all this year, the pressure was on early as the team opened up at home Wednesday night against the New York Knicks. To the Target Center we go. Tie game in the second, and Kevin Garnett making his presence known. The alley-oop slam there from Trenton Hassel, putting the Wolves up by a deuce. The Knicks would hang around this one, though. Stephon Marbury with the spin in the lane up and over Kevin Garnett for the two-pointer there. That would cut the Wolves' lead down to 1, but in the fourth, the Wolves pull away. Troy Hudson, welcome back to the lineup with the 3 there. The Wolves win 99-93. Another team looking forward to their season, the Orlando Magic, and Steve Franchise thinks about the 3, but he goes in for the dunk right over Eric Strickland trying to defend. I don't know how you can even defend that. Orlando would be up 6 at that point, and then this one would sit close, however. Closing seconds, Milwaukee trailing until Michael Redd with the bank shot there gives the Bucks a 1-point lead with 3.5 seconds to go. One last chance for the Magic, and it's Steve Francis one more time. With the drive in the lane, splitting the D, he gets the hoop, the foul, and more importantly, the victory. The rest would have to get together as this one was really close to the buzzer, though. But as you see, Steve got the ball out with 0.2 of a second left, and it became official. The Magic win this one in a thriller, 93-92. A healthy diet can benefit anyone, but with their physically demanding lifestyles, eating right is even more important for athletes. Nutritionalists say that athletes who do not maintain a proper diet put their bodies under more stress. They say carbohydrates are the key nutrient in providing energy, and athletes need a lot of them to be healthy. Proteins and fats are also important. Many athletes try to gain an edge by using nutritional supplements. However, some dietitians say there are a few problems with this plan.
Supplements are not regulated. They're not considered a food and they're not considered a drug. So manufacturers don't have to have any type of standards put in place for their supplements.
Westring tells athletes to eat plenty of grains, pasta, rice, and other foods that are high in carbs. She also stresses the importance of staying hydrated to maintain muscle and joint health. And now it's time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. With the NBA season tipping off, many teams have high hopes of making the playoffs, and today we want to know who currently holds the record for consecutive seasons missing the NBA playoffs, and we'll tell you who's been in a terrible drought, and we have more sports a little later on. Monty and Carrie?
Thanks, Greg. Sequels are sometimes a tough sell. Coming up, we'll preview the new Bridget Jones movie that promises more laughs and romance.
Also, concentrating can be a difficult task for someone with a learning disorder. Next, we'll talk to someone who will tell us more about attention deficit disorder.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person. I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration, real degrees for real people.
Become a leader in healthcare with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota. The Graduate School at UND offers degree programs and advanced practice certificate programs in the allied health professions and nursing. Our faculty give you the individual attention you need to help you attain your career goals. Distance programs for practicing professionals allow you to pursue graduate studies without interrupting your career. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Attention deficit disorder, better known as ADD, has been recognized in children for years. However, more adults are starting to come forward with their struggles with the learning disorder. Here to tell us more about adult ADD is learning disorder specialist Elizabeth Fletcher Lamb. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hi.
Well, I guess the first question I have, could you maybe just briefly describe what ADD is?
ADD, attention deficit disorder, affects children and adults in their learning. It can cause difficulty with, again, attention, activity, or being overactive. It can hurt with organization, planning, task completion, and oftentimes students feel that they may be restless. They may either be restless with hyperactivity outwardly, or it may be internal. They may decide that their mind is always racing.
Well, you mentioned hyperactivity. Is there a difference between ADD and ADHD?
Well, sometimes those terms are used interchangeably, but an ADD is a more current term, but basically it's attention deficit disorder, you could say, is mainly the internal or inattentive type, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, is with the predominantly hyperactive outward behaviors. They may also have internal distractions, and if they have both outward hyperactivity and inward distractibility or restlessness, then it's a combined type. And so it just depends on, in other words, we always used to think it was only hyperactivity. Now we've decided that there's a couple of different kinds, and so oftentimes girls are the people who will have more difficulty internally, and so they may have been called just not paying attention in class or spacing out, whereas they may have the inattentive type of ADD.
Well, what are some of the symptoms of ADD?
Some of the symptoms are just if you're talking about adult in a job, it would be not completing tasks or getting unfocused in a task that they're completing, or maybe even it can affect them socially. They may not understand cues that they get from people. They may be over-talkative and that kind of thing.
Is ADD hereditary?
Usually it's hereditary, yes.
Well, it's most often seen in kids. I think most people associate it with kids. Is the adult population with ADD growing?
I don't know that it's growing. I think we're recognizing it more often. I think the type of ADD that I talked about that is inattentive is the one that's being more recognized, because most people recognize when someone's hyperactive or overly active. But they may not recognize when somebody's inattentive inside. And until you start talking to that person about how they think and process information, you may not know that their mind is racing, and they may be thinking about 3 to 10 things at once or within a minute of time. And so they lose track of what they're saying. So they could be sitting there talking to you and not even hear what you're saying because they've got all these things going on in their head.
Well, what is the difference between adult and child ADD?
I don't know that there's a big difference. I think that children, they definitely would display the hyperactive behavior and probably wouldn't monitor it, whereas an adult, if they have the hyperactive type of ADD, would learn strategies or would learn ways to monitor that. So if they were sitting here talking to you, for example, they would learn to keep their hands in their laps, but their foot might be going 10 miles a minute. So if you are sitting with somebody are playing with their hands or fidgeting, that might be a slight sign that there's something going on with attention.
Well, is this disorder something that you can acquire as an adult?
I have heard of adult ADD, but I haven't done a lot of study on it. Typically, they say that to be diagnosed with ADD as an adult, you need to have something going on with attention and activity before the age of 7.
Well, how does ADD interfere with a person's life?
It can interfere by a student maybe not learning how to read when they're young because they can't pay enough attention to the letters and the books to learn to read. It may affect them socially because they may blurt things out of turn. In other words, they can also be impulsive or have poor decision-making skills. As an adolescent or adult, it could just be not completing tasks, maybe getting fired from a job because you didn't hear what the person was telling you. As an adult, again, if you aren't producing enough on your job and you're zoning in and out, that causes problems. And in a marriage, it can cause problems because if one person is very much, type A and task-oriented and the other person can't get things done, there can often be some conflict, especially if they don't realize that's going on.
Well, what kind of treatment options are available?
Well, I usually look at a triad approach with people I work with. I look at learning strategies and figuring out how you can better manage your tasks and learn things and deal with things on the job. I also look at getting a support person, in other words, learning more about the ADD and getting somebody as a coach or a support. And then I also look at talking to your doctor about medication. Oftentimes medication, the right kind of medication, can make a major amount of difference.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
And thank you for having me.
Coming up, many war veterans have amazing stories of survival. We'll talk to a man whose story inspires others to achieve their goals. Also, it can sometimes be tough working with your spouse. Next, we'll spend a day in the life of a married couple who work together in very interesting conditions.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
Bridget Jones' The Edge of Reason is the sequel to the successful film Bridget Jones's Diary. It picks up 4 weeks after the end of the first film. Bridget is a 30-something single woman who has finally found romance. Her boyfriend, Darcy, is a seemingly perfect man. Despite this, Bridget finds herself wondering if there could be something better. She seems to be having a string of bad luck, and then things just seem to get worse. Zellweger says her character has changed since the last film.
She's grown, obviously. She's grown up a little bit. She's probably not as naive, maybe not as obsessive about certain things. And she has found love.
Zellweger had to eat almost 5,000 calories a day for 5 weeks before filming. Her diet included French fries, pizza, and up to 20 donuts a day. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. Many people enjoy the entertainment of magic. Today we will spend a day in the life of a married couple devoted to astonishing audiences with their illusions.
The lights dim, the music starts, and magic is suddenly in the air. Excitement grows as Jonathan and Charlotte Pendragons start their show. But this isn't just any show. Charlotte and Jonathan have amazed thousands of people around the world with their illusions.
For an hour and a half, give them a performance that they can go home and think about and talk about.
This show includes everything from Charlotte being cut in half to Jonathan joining 2 rings in midair. The audience watches in amazement as Charlotte and Jonathan work their magic.
It's great. The illusions are awesome. I liked when they cut Charlotte in half. That was really cool. It looked so real.
The Pendragons have dedicated their lives to the art of magic. Their hearts and souls are in every performance they give.
Reality is when I walk on stage. The rest of my life is spent waiting to get back up on stage.
Even though Jonathan gives his all for every performance, the risks of his job are leagues away from paper cuts and carpal tunnel.
I've been mauled by a Bengal tiger. I've been caught on fire. I've broken my leg. I've fallen 25 feet. A lot of crazy stuff happened on stage.
Jonathan has sure been through a lot. The Pendragons don't spend their days working 9-to-5 shifts. Their profession involves a special type of talent. When the lights go down and the music starts, The magic of their performance is what Charlotte and Jonathan Pendragon live for. With photographer Darren Lean, I am Lindsay Turner reporting for Studio One.
The Pendragons have performed for many famous people. Audience members have included President Clinton, the Prince of Wales, and the Queen of England. Coming up, some fans go the extra mile to cheer on their favorite team. We'll tell you about one man who has run many miles to celebrate his team's success. That's story plus news, sports, and the weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, I know a lot of people like to go garage sailing. That's a hobby for some. Some people, you know, they just get so much stuff, they just keep going.
It accumulates in garages everywhere.
Right. So we actually went out and we asked people, what is that one piece of junk, I guess?
Or treasure.
Yeah, however you want to look at it, that they just can't part with. So.
And I'm sure we got an answer from everybody because everybody's got that thing in the closet they won't let go of.
Right.
All right. Well, also coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, this year's presidential race came down to a few pivotal electoral votes. We'll tell why some believe the system used to elect the president is outdated.
Also, enthusiastic supporters can add life to any sporting event. We'll introduce you to someone who provides football fans with a unique touchdown celebration.
And a small number of veterans feel comfortable speaking about their war experiences. Coming up, we will talk to a veteran who is trying to increase that number. But first, here's today's news with Phil Zubrod.
Thanks, Monty and Carrie. President Bush will be in the White House 4 more years, but he could be without some of his top advisors. He met with the cabinet Thursday for the first time in 3 months to address possible changes in his administration. Attorney General John Ashcroft could be one of the first to exit Bush's cabinet. Sources close to Ashcroft say it is likely he will resign within the next 2 weeks. The Attorney General says his health is a factor in his decision. There is also speculation that the Secretary of State Colin Powell and Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld may step down. However, none of these changes have been confirmed. The Capitol will also see some new faces as a result of Tuesday's election. Republicans gained seats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. In the Senate, there are now 55 Republicans, 44 Democrats, and 1 independent. Republicans hope picking up these new seats will make it easier to push the president's second-term agenda through Congress. 2 new studies are calling on restaurants to provide nutritional information on their menus. Research done by 2 health watchdog groups says Food labels could help reduce childhood obesity. The studies may help boost support for the Menu Education and Labeling Bill, or MEAL. The bill would require restaurant chains to provide nutritional information on menu items. If passed, customers would find the calorie and fat content of a dish next to the item's price. But some restaurant managers say showing the information may hurt their industry more than it helps their customers.
It has the potential to increase business, and then it has, the opportunity to maybe lose some business over it. I think that for the average consumer, they're not really concerned about what the intakes are.
The restaurant industry is also concerned about the cost of changing the menus. Lawmakers introduced the bill because more Americans are eating out and gaining weight. Medical studies in the past have linked several infant health risks to women smoking during pregnancy, and that list is still growing. Researchers from Harvard and Brown universities say that women who smoke while pregnant double the risk of their infants developing colic. They say nicotine from cigarettes increases blood levels in a protein involved with digestion. This may cause painful stomach cramping and make a baby cry. Besides colic, smoking during pregnancy is linked to risks such as low birth rate, sudden infant death syndrome, and respiratory problems. U.S. citizens are given a chance to elect a president every 4 years. While many people believe that the popular vote determines the winner, the outcome is actually based on a different kind of vote.
The votes are in. Americans have cast their ballots, and while each vote counts, some are more heavily weighted than others. That's because the president is selected through the Electoral College, not the popular vote. The Electoral College gives each state a vote equal to the number of its Congress members. That means each state has at least 3. In nearly every state, whichever candidate wins the popular vote takes all of that state's electoral votes. A candidate must receive 270 electoral votes to win, and each electoral vote is crucial, as America learned 4 years ago.
They were made aware of it in the year 2000 with the hubbub over the Gore-Bush vote in Florida, and the fact that we had a president elected who had less popular votes.
And this year's close election has people thinking about the Electoral College system once again.
It favors North Dakota from what I understand, and since I live in North Dakota, I favor it from that aspect because we have a low population.
Maybe they should just go right down to the popular vote. That's what I think the big disadvantage is. That way you don't have to worry about massive recount in just that one little area to determine the president.
Over the years, more than 700 attempts have been made to try and revise this system. In order to make it change, each state would have to vote, and politicians say it's unlikely that smaller states would approve a popular vote system. With photographer Corey Morlock, this is Mariah Torning reporting for Studio One News.
On November 2nd, George W. Bush was re-elected as president with both the popular and electoral vote. His re-election will be made official on January 6th when the electoral votes will be opened and read to Congress. And that's the news for now. Monty and Carrie?
Thanks a lot, Phil. Well, when you think of on-the-job risks, something that you think would rank pretty high as being risky would be hurricane hunter.
Well,
and that's what Aaron said he was going to tell us a little bit about.
Well, why don't we go to Aaron Swanson over at the Regional Weather Information Center, and he can show us that video.
Yeah, well, thanks, Monty and Kira. We're actually going to first zip through some of flooding that we have actually locally here in Grand Forks. The Red River, pretty much the parts of the upper Midwest, have been experiencing heavy rain this fall, and this has been leading to flooding in many areas. And yes, the Red River, which runs along the Minnesota and North Dakota border, has surpassed flood stage due to this heavy rain. Nearly 5 inches have fell locally, and water is not easily absorbed in the fall time because, as you can see by the video here, a lot of the trees have lost a lot of their leaves, and they don't require as much water to stay alive, and also some of the grasslands have also begun to gone dormant this time of year. So as you take a look at what areas are affected by this, we see pretty much Fargo, the Red River runs to the north, so Fargo is the first one that was affected, and then it will spread through Grand Forks, and then all the way up into Winnipeg will be the areas that will be affected by this heavy rainfall. Well, the upper Midwest has been dealing with the moderate flooding. The southern half of the U.S. has been feeling the effects of flooding from hurricanes. Many people in the paths of these storms are instructed to evacuate. However, there are a few people who brave the elements in search of the perfect storm.
This year, the southeast coast was devastated by powerful hurricanes on almost a weekly occurrence. While most people would flee from these powerful storms, one person was preparing to fly into the center of the chaos.
there is the imagination of what it's like to be in a hurricane, and then there's the reality of it as well. The reality in some ways confirms the imagination, and in other ways it absolutely exceeds it.
Scott flew with the United States Air Force on a research flight to collect data on hurricanes. Experts use this information to forecast how strong these storms may get or where they could go. He says the researches are just as impressive as the storm itself.
When you're in a storm and you're looking out the window, all you really see is gray clouds. I mean, there's not a lot of visual drama, but there's a lot of fast and dedicated work being done by people trying to understand where the storm is going.
Scott is writing a book on his experiences. He hopes to show how people risk everything to fly into deadly storms for our benefit. I'm Rob Parrish, reporting for Studio One.
At the time Scott flew into Hurricane Ivan, it was a Category 5 storm. It ranked as the 6th strongest hurricane ever recorded. Well, here's a look again at your Studio One Weather IQ question. How many days did Hurricane John last in the 1994 hurricane season? And your answer is D, 31 days, which is actually an entire month that Hurricane John was spinning out in the Atlantic Ocean. So Monty and Carrie?
All right, thanks, Aaron. 31 days, that's a long time.
That's a long life, I guess, for
yeah.
a hurricane.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to be around that or hunting it, I
No,
guess.
I wouldn't be doing that either. Let's go again to sports with Greg Ankers.
Thanks, Monty and Carrie. When it comes to winning a game, many athletes turn to inspiration they receive from coaches or other players. While this motivation is often enough, sometimes players find their drive elsewhere.
Competition is everywhere in sports. It drives players to succeed and motivates them towards a win. But winning isn't the goal of every team.
Win or lose, doesn't really matter. We prefer to win, but that's not the big picture of why we're out here.
The big picture that unites the team called Athletes in Action and their coach is a love for God.
God really started stirring my heart about something more.
I love the fact that I get to combine the most important thing in my life, which is my relationship with Christ and the sport I love as well.
The Athletes in Action play exhibitions around the country each year, including this one against the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, North Dakota. However, this group's mission is not to preach, but instead to share uplifting performances on and off the court.
There are no requirements, like pressure requirements. All we have to do is come out each day, perform to the best of our abilities, and that's it.
Composed of former college players, many from the highest level, the athletes provide more than just a typical exhibition game.
It's the best of both worlds. I'm playing basketball and sharing my faith and telling others about the impact that God has made in my life.
Their main focus is to help players and fans see the benefits of strong convictions. Reporting for Studio One Sports, I'm Tyler Tupa.
In addition to exhibition games, the Athletes in Action hold youth basketball clinics during their tour. The clinics teach kids sportsmanship and fundamentals of the game. And now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question. Who currently holds the record for consecutive seasons missing the NBA playoffs? And your answer there is B, the Golden State Warriors, who haven't been there in 10 seasons. And the last time they were there in 1995, they were swept by the Phoenix Suns 3-0. And that's the sports. Monty and Carrie?
Thank you, Greg. Becoming a vegetarian can narrow people's choices in cooking. We'll look at one woman who's teaching a class for people who rarely ask, "Where's the beef?"
Also, football fans love to see their team score. We'll tell you how one man makes touchdowns even more exciting for the crowd.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Advance your career with a graduate business degree from the University of North Dakota. The graduate school at UND offers a variety of master's degrees that can help you stand out in the competitive business world. Our programs accommodate full-time students as well as working professionals. Our state-of-the-art facilities, dedicated faculty, and entrepreneurial training position graduates for careers as business leaders. Make your move towards a business leadership position. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
You're watching Studio One, your source for news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
It can be difficult to find a healthy solution with all the fad diets around. One woman likes to teach others to try fruits and vegetables to create a culinary experience.
Brenna Kerr is a cattle rancher's daughter with a love for cooking. She teaches others how to eat healthy. However, we're not sure if her parents are proud of her main topic.
I asked how many people were vegetarian, and I think we have probably about 24, 25 people out there, and 3/4 of them raise their hand that they are not vegetarians.
Brenna's classes give the inexperienced vegetarian the opportunity to try some veggie delights. She says she hopes these tantalizing treats will help persuade people into a vegetarian lifestyle.
Not all the time, but I'm going to try and incorporate more vegetables into my diet.
The main focus of her class is to create a healthy lifestyle. Brenna uses props to get her message across, like giant intestines.
It's processed, not a lot of fiber. It's going to be hard coming out. If it's hard going in, meaning that there's a lot of fiber, it hasn't been processed very much, it's going to be soft coming out.
Through her teaching methods, Brenna gives people a new option for mealtime. Because of her, some people may now think, tofu, it's what's for dinner. With photographer Virginia Sticka, I'm Holly Hine reporting for Studio One.
Vegetarians eat animal-based products like milk and eggs. The term vegan refers to people who abstain from eating anything animal-based. It is sometimes hard to throw away things that you've had for a long time. Your precious items may be out of date or even broken, but it's still hard to part with. We wanted to hear about the things you just can't get rid of.
This old couch up in my attic. I can't get rid of it because it's too big to carry out there by myself. So I want to get rid of it, but I don't know what else to do with it.
I have an old sewing machine that belonged to my grandmother, and it's just very, very sentimental, but it doesn't work. It just sits in a corner and it looks like something old.
I save great big pine cones and I use them at Christmas. I get them from out west like California and Nevada in that area. And also I collect telegraph insulators that are along the railroads.
My favorite pair of Levi's got holes in it, they're faded, they're shredded up. Just can't part with them. The wife keeps wanting to throw them away, but I keep digging them back out.
My husband and I collect things, so we don't think of them as junk. We think of them as very precious objects.
Sideline traditions are common in college football, from the running of the Buffalo at the University of Colorado to Uga the Bulldog at Georgia. Each school offers something unique. At the University of North Dakota, there is one man who's been a sideline delight for years.
There is someone on this sideline whose presence gets noticed during every game.
Go Sioux!
His name is Loyal Yankee, and his passion is cheering on the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux football team.
All right. Good job!
I do it for the team. If I could fire these guys up in the stands and give them a little added fire, that they got that extra spark out in the field, that's what I'm striving for.
But it's once this team scores that fans get to experience Loyal hard at work.
Well, actually, I've seen him for 5 years now. I've seen him run around for every touchdown. It's pretty cool. We just give him a high five when he runs by. Pretty sweet.
The response from fans has fueled Loyal on his many trips around the field for 9 seasons now.
It's exhilarating. I mean, when you go by the sidelines and the guys are sticking their hands out and giving a high five. The little kids that stick their little paws out and you touch them. It's exhilarating.
But Loyal's laps can't be easy, as he sports a cowboy hat and boots that simply reflect who he is.
I rodeoed for a long time, and I've always been pseudo cowboy guy, you know, and I had them on the first day I did this, and probably have them on the last day I do it. People have told me, God, you should get shin splints. I honestly don't know what that is. I've never had them. I don't know. Legs are a little sore, but geez, I'm almost 50 years old. I mean, you know, legs are sore just getting out of bed in the mornings.
Despite being constantly busy on the sidelines, however, Loyal simply enjoys his role for the football team.
Well, I don't know if you really call it a role. I'd go more with an honor. It's something I do for the team, the young men that play for the Sioux and go to school here and work their hearts out to play football and go to school.
After nearly a decade on the sidelines, many may wonder how long Loyal will continue to run around the field.
Quite frankly, till I can't or somebody says I can't. That's it. Yeah, I'm hooked.
With photographer Corey Morlock, this is Greg Ankers reporting for Studio One.
Loyal began his touchdown laps in 1995 when his stepson played for UND. His initial leap onto the field was based on a dare, and he's never looked back since. Well, everyone knows that war is dangerous. Our next guest is a Vietnam War veteran who was actually pronounced dead twice and is here to tell us about it.
No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect North Dakota veterans with important information. North Dakota veterans can use the internet to access employment and business resources, health and benefits they deserve, housing information, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded in part by the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. North Dakota veterans and their families can get connected by visiting go.ndgrow.com.
The Vietnam War was so controversial that it deterred many veterans from speaking about their experiences. This can lead to problems, including post-traumatic stress disorder. Vietnam War veteran John Hovde is here to tell us about what he does to encourage veterans to speak out. Thanks a lot for coming on the show today.
Good to see you again, Monty.
Yeah, and you have an amazing story. It's one that needs about a half hour to tell, but we're going to try and get through it here. What happened to you when you were over in war?
I actually drove over an anti-tank mine on the 8th of January 1968, and it totally destroyed the APC carrier. I was a lead driver for a mech outfit out of the 25th Division out of Cu Chi, Vietnam. I hit this anti-tank mine and my arm and leg, left arm and leg were amputated on the spot. A medic pulled in, jumped inside. He was from Anoka, Les Cowden, pulled me out, laid me on top, pronounced me dead. He actually took a pulse in my left arm, but my arm was severed inside the shirt and he didn't know that. So there was no pulse. A tank in front of me hit a mine just seconds after I did, and he was actually dead. It blew the back of his head away. But all of a sudden my squad leader stand there and he saw me move, so he said, I think he's alive. Cowden was awarded the Bronze Star for saving my life, and I spent like 9.5 months. I lost my left arm and leg, and it busted my right leg and crushed my right foot and broke my right arm, blew off 2 fingers on my right hand, and they sewed the index finger back on. I got like 185 stitches in the right arm and close to 200 probably in the right leg. Fractured my skull, burnt my hair off. I mean,
can there be anything more that could have gone wrong? And now, when you were you know, sent into the hospital unit, what happened then?
Well, I didn't actually wake up for 6 solid days. I was unconscious, and in that time, they actually cast my right arm and leg, and they actually changed dressings on the amputations every 48 hours. But I mean, it was 14 days later, actually, that my fever rose to 108 degrees, and then they lost me again. Doctor had thought he missed something when I came in, so he did an exploratory surgery, and I was so weak and in so much pain. I mean, I was literally living on morphine at the time. And so he lost me for the second time in Vietnam. And but I spent 3 solid days on ice blankets. I had one underneath me and one over the top of me, my head packed in ice with 108-degree fever. And I literally went from like 155 pounds down to 98 pounds. So I mean, I don't remember sleeping those days because I didn't dare go to sleep because I thought if I went to sleep, I wouldn't wake up. And when I found my nurse, Kay Lehman, in fact, in 1998, that's what she said happened to a lot of guys. They just gave up and they went to sleep and you didn't wake up because it's easier to die than it is to live.
Right, and you know, you didn't give up, obviously, thankfully, and you're here today. What is it that kept you going?
The biggest thing probably is my wife, that is sitting in the green room right now. I mean, she was 17 years old. She writes me this letter and said, Johnny, please come home. I don't care about the amputation. We'll put a life together. And you know, this summer we celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary. So I say the book is really not so much my story, it's a story about America. I really do believe that because it's about a small town, shy boy growing up, going off to war, being wounded, come back, and do the American dream, and that's basically what I've done. I don't think I've done anything spectacular. I don't think I'm this hero, because to me, heroes are etched on granite walls. And I got 5 friends in Vietnam that were killed. One of them saved my life. Those guys are the heroes of the war. It's not me. Yeah. I'm just fortunate to be alive.
And you know, you mentioned the book, and the book that you're talking about is the one that you're putting together. Tell us about that book that you're working on.
It's titled Left for Dead, A Second Life After Vietnam, and it started out really in 1996. I started writing a story for my kids, because my father came from Norway in 1923 as a ski jumper. He had all these stories, and I wish he'd have written it down. So I started doing that. Well, as I started public speaking, and now I do motivational speeches, and people always say when I get done with the speech, well, where's your book? And I said, well, I don't have one. Finally I said, I'm working on one. Well, then I found this terrific writer, Maureen Anderson. She heard me speak on Memorial Day in Detroit Lakes, and she said, I don't want to do another book. She had written a book for another guy, and she said, I can make more money working at Walmart, and she could. She's actually, but dynamite writer. She took the story and she could make it flow. I mean, she made interesting stuff out of heart bypass surgery and stuff that I've had done, and it just, and we sent it off to the University of Minnesota Press, and in 8 weeks we got word that we got a contract, which she said is unheard of. And she said, John, she said, you don't seem that excited. And I said, I'm really not.
Well, it might not seem exciting to you, but I think to everybody else, it certainly is a story. And what do you hope to accomplish with the book and with your speeches that you give to different groups?
What I hope now with the book, that's my ticket to really move the motivational speaking to another level, which I've done AFLAC conventions like in Tyler, Texas, Little Rock, Arkansas, and I've keynoted state conferences, but I want to do more of that, get some major money, and what I hope to do is set up some foundations, give some scholarships to kids, do some things with some some veterans groups, and turn all that stuff into good stuff.
And how important is it to you that veterans speak out about their experiences?
I've had veterans in the audience, Monty, where at schools, and I've had up to 3,000 kids at a time, and a lot of times they'll invite the public. And I've seen veterans walk out because they can't take listening to it anymore because they've never talked about the war. But I'll tell you this, the ones that have come up to me afterward have said, some of their kids have came up to me, in fact, and said, Dad's finally starting to talk about the war, and it's been so good. We wanted to know what that was about. But it's hard because you got to relive that experience, and it's not easy to do. But it's like I tell these Vietnam veterans, I said, God gave me a powerful gift, I think, on those ice blankets. And I said, now that I can share it, I share all our story, not only mine. I mean, it's a story we all went through.
Yeah. And what is it like being able to tell your story to people?
Well, I think, you know, it's cathartic for me, I think, because it's my way of getting it out. And I think that's how I dealt with the PTSD issue for years, was I could go out in front of an audience and tell this story, as heartbreaking as it really is. And there's times, my wife will tell you, because I stand up there with no notes, no script, nothing. And there's times something will come to me that I have to get out for whatever reason, and it'll be a part of the story I've never told before, and it does get to me.
Yeah.
As many times as I've done this, and I've been speaking to kids now for almost 2 decades, so it's not new.
No, well,
but the experience is still there.
Yeah, and it is an amazing experience, a great story, and your book is going to be coming out in May of 2005, so we'll look for that. John, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Appreciate you taking the time. Well, you're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
The Graduate School at the University of North Dakota is the premier graduate school of the Northern Great Plains, offering advanced degrees in more than 50 fields of study. Our innovative and flexible programs give full-time students, as well as working professionals, the opportunity to study under the guidance of nationally and internationally recognized faculty. Advance your career with a master's or doctoral degree from the Graduate School at the University of North Dakota.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I love working with people.
I'm a people person.
I consider myself to be highly motivated.
I'm a real self-starter.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
I can offer you much more than just good people skills.
You're hired.
No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Tune in next week on Studio One. In difficult times, people often turn to poetry to express their feelings. One coffee shop welcomed readers to share their stories about emotional loss. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of illusionists, the Pendragons. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.